Right, we're working now on the anemone motif, and if you recall at the beginning of the videos I mentioned that we aren't doing round by round, step by step instructions on these videos for the whole of the project. I'm just looking at kind of giving you hints and tips of various techniques that you can take across all three motifs really, and outside into other projects as well. We've covered the daylily motif almost in its entirety, and there are lots of techniques in that one that you will take through to this particular block. For example, we're working behind the flower here, and we're making those stems and things that probably look quite familiar, but what I thought I'd do is just revisit a little bit of that by working the yellow petals and the leaves here. And I also just want to go over, I'm going to just flip this over now, I want to go over this particular structure, this blue structure here. That's what I'm going to show you on this particular block. We did cover sort of making a nice neat centre ring and ways of fastening off and standing stitches and all sorts of stuff in the videos for the daylily. So do have a look at those if you haven't done so yet, and if there's some kind of technique that you're sort of struggling with, like I said, we did cover an awful lot in those. If you're still struggling, do get in touch with us. The email address is on the back of your pattern, or of course you can get in touch with us via our website. Right, so I'm going to be starting here on round 5. This is round 1 to 4 already complete, and I'm working with what is buttermilk for me. And I'm so sorry, it's very gloomy here, and I've got all manner of lights and a ring light and all sorts. So I'm really sorry if the light is not as good as you would hope it to be. It certainly isn't as good as I would hope it to be. Bear with me on that. So if you remember, if you've made this little round so far, you have skipped some stitches. You only worked into some of the stitches on the round, the blue round here, which is round round 3, I beg your pardon. We've got 2 rounds of blue here. So round 3. So you've skipped stitches on round 2 and you made other stitches on round 3. And we're going to actually be working into those skipped stitches from round 2, which if I just put a hook through, it's these ones here. We're working behind the petals. So what that means is I'm not going to put my hook all the way through like that, because if I was to try and work with my yarn, I would be picking up the petal and everything that I'd already made. So the easiest way, I think, to work behind a petal is to fold it forward. What that then does is it exposes the skipped stitch, and it means I can put my hook through that really nice and easily without catching anything in the wrong way. So that's my first little tip, is bend the petals forward if you're working behind. So we're going to just pull up the yarn in the normal way that we have done so far, which is to pull up a loop and to pull up a chain to secure it. Now this is one of those occasions where we're going to go straight in here with a double crochet. So this doesn't count as a stitch, which means I am not going to secure that yarn ending, because when I get to the end I'm going to take that little loop out. So if you haven't seen that yet, I'll show you what I mean. So it's 1 double crochet, that's UK terminology, into that little gap there. And then I'm going to go 2 chain. And I'm going to fold this petal back because I now need to expose this next skipped stitch, or I don't know if you saw that, this next skipped stitch. So again, just folding the petal forward, putting the hook through, so the petal is kind of sitting under the hook there. You can see that, and you can see that all I'm going through is that 1 stitch, nothing else. And I'm going to do that all the way around. And what that does is that just creates a nice little framework to build on. Okay, it's sort of nothing you're going to see very much. My yarn is very much caught up under there. I do apologise. Nothing you're going to see very much except a really very pleasing little glimpse of the yellow. I'll show you that in a minute. So this, I think, is my last 2. Oh no, we've got a couple more to go. So I'm just working around folding those petals forward to make sure I'm working behind. I'm now going into the last one to make that 1 double crochet, UK, or US is a single crochet. And I'm going to finish by working a slip stitch into the top of the first double crochet that I made. Now, if you remember, I said I'm going to not secure any ends in because I'm going to get rid of that extra bit of yarn. I don't need that extra bit of yarn. And if you look, if I put it's really loose, if I could pull that, it just comes out. And as long as I put it towards the back, it's done its job and we can forget about it. Okay, so that is that round done. Now if I if I show you it from the front, you can't see all of that lovely structure we've made, but you can see these lovely little glimpses of yellow, which I really like, actually. They're really, really cute. So that is kind of the foundation. That's round 5, and that's built us our foundation for the next round, which is to make those nice little yellow petals. You can just sort of see them peeping in from the side there. Again, this will be quite familiar. This technique will be quite familiar because we worked it extensively on Daylily. But let's go ahead and make it, because it's made slightly differently, this one, because they're an awful lot smaller. So we're not fastening off. We're going to carry on. And we're going to make 1 chain here, and we're going to make 1 double crochet into that 2 chain space that we made, that first one. Let's make a double crochet in here, and this is where our leaf is going to go up and extend out, or sorry, our petal is going to extend out of. So we're going to make this time 6 chain. And if you looked at the Daylily ones, you will recognise this. We're making that sort of long chain, or you know, we're coming quite a way out of the centre here, and we're going to fill that chain in with some stitches to create a petal. This time we're not just going to be filling in with double crochet UK or single crochet US. We're going to have a bit of a variety of stitches because we are creating our little petal in one go here. We're not just making a stem, we're going to create a petal all in one go. So how we're going to do that, we're skipping the chain that is closest to the hook, and in the next one we're going to make 1 UK double crochet, US single crochet, in it goes. And we're going to get slightly bigger here, so in the next one along it's a half treble UK or a half double US. So the stitch is getting slightly taller, and then 1 treble UK in the next one, or that's a double in the US. And we're coming back in again now, so half treble UK in the next one, half double US. And the shortest stitch again, a double crochet UK or a single crochet US into our last chain. And that has made our little petal. Before I show you that, we will finish off by putting a double crochet into that chain space where we have just been working. So let me just take my hook out and show you. There you go. There's that very sweet little delicate little yellow petal. Let's do another one. So we're going to hop across now to the next chain, space, this little one here that we've made. So the way we're going to do that is make 2 chain, and we're going to repeat all of that again. So we're going to start with that anchor of 1 double crochet. I'll try very hard to get some yarn. And if you remember, we made 6 chain. And 6, and we're coming back and creating our petal all in one go. So we're not making a stem, we're making the petal, and we're making that with just a few well-placed stitches. So skipping the first chain, we're putting our double in there, and then our half treble, these are UK terminology, and then our treble. I'll repeat it in US terminology in a minute. Treble is our biggest stitch on this little part. Back down to a half and back down to a double. Okay, and we finish by putting a double into that chain space. And there's our second petal. What I'll do is I'll hop round now and I'll do it in US terminology. All right, so there's the 2 chain. And into this chain space, I will make a single crochet. So we're going to just give the US terminology a go now. Single crochet in there, 6 chain, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And we're going to come and work back along that chain. Miss the one that's nearest to the hook, and we go into the next one with a single crochet. Next one is a half double, then a double. Okay, back down to a half double, and then back down to a single, and finish up with a single crochet in that same chain space. And if I stop there, they are so sweet, aren't they, these little petals? And a little tiny bit curly, but don't worry, because in future rounds we're going to catch the ends in, and it will sort of straighten them right out. So that's how you make those little yellow petals, and you're going to go around and make that and do that 6 times. So I'm going to finish that off. I think that's enough of explanation for that, and we will move on then to the larger green leaves.